So
I almost could tell.
I'm sorry about that. If you hear, the woman in the box telling me to turn, I apologize for that.
Oh yeah, no worries. I think we're just waiting for my colleague Jacob to join the call, so we'll just give him a minute or two and then we can get started.
Excellent, thank you. Where are you located?
So we're in Boston.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Boston.
I'm sorry?
Beautiful town. But I love Boston, such a beautiful town.
Yeah, no, it's really nice, especially in the summer and the fall.
Yeah, both weeks of it, right?
Yes. Hi, Jacob.
Hi, Molly.
Hey, Rhonda's on the call as well.
Hello, Rhonda. How are you?
Hello, I'm great. I apologize already once for being on hands-free. I'm driving right now, so I apologize for that.
Oh, no problem. So I generally start out these conversations by asking how much you know in terms of what the purpose of this is.
Yeah, pretty much very little. I understand that it has to do with our vision for 2025, but that's pretty much it.
Okay, that's usually the case, by the way, with these kinds of calls. So here's what's going on. So, Pool has been engaged by AFLAC to facilitate the scenario planning engagement, which is part of helping to develop the strategy 2022. And in order to get people thinking about drivers, variables that are going to affect the industry going forward over the next 7 to 10 years or so, we're going to present a research brief at the first of 2 workshops that we will be facilitating with AFLAC. And we want our research brief to be as well informed as possible. And so we're doing, in addition to secondary research, we're doing primary research as well. We have interviewed a number of external sources who have experience in the voluntary benefit space. And now we are talking to internal people to get their insights on the voluntary benefit space. So basically, we're here to pick your brain for a little bit.
Okay.
So that works for you?
Yeah, that works for me. I will kind of give you my first disclaimer is that I've been with AFLAC for 4 months. And before that, I was with Colonial Life in Unum for 17 years. So
that's
I'm inside into the industry, but okay, great.
No, that's great because we're more interested in the industry dynamics than we are about the specifics around AFLAC. Obviously AFLAC is a major player, so we're clearly interested in AFLAC, but we would love insight on the broader space, and I think a good way to start that conversation might be, even though you've only been there for a few months, if you could describe to us as what you see as the differences between AFLAC and Colonial. And actually, before we do that, just to kind of check my expectations, I believe, based on what we've learned so far, that Colonial is the closest competitor to AFLAC. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, so if you could tell us a bit about the differences between the two companies, I think that might be a great place to start.
Okay, well, as you may or may not know, Colonial Life is owned by Unum Group. And that is a more diversified, right? So AFLAC and CAIC remain solely within the voluntary space. Colonial Life is solely within the voluntary space, but they are owned and driven very heavily by their parent company. So I think there is, a very, obviously in Colonial Life's world, very, very strong push towards all things voluntary. Unum has a little bit broader interest, and you see that in planning, you see that in the